I just saw an interview with you and Freddie Prinze Jr., which I thought was absolutely fantastic interview.
Freddie Prinze Jr. is someone who really meant a lot to me growing up. Like, who didn't love I Know What You Did Last Summer? As a baseball player, I loved Summer Catch.
Dude, that was one of my favorite, like, movies that shouldn't have been a favorite movie. Me and a male buddy, went to that movie to watch it together, and he was so concerned about it that we came up with this whole thing about how I'll go in first, I'll pretend like we're meeting dates, you come in, you sit over there, and if anybody's around us, we pretend like our dates just stood us up, so screw it, we're just gonna stay and watch the movie.
So you're like, man, we can't have people seeing us going to see this romantic comedy together.
Yeah, that was, for me, I didn't care. I just wanted to see the movie, and I was a big fan of Freddie Prinze Jr., and I thought it looked cool. In the trailer, I remember the line, like, to get big rewards, you got to take big risks.
Yeah.
Is like in the trailer, and that just, I don't know, there was something about that was like, I was just starting like stand-up comedy. I was a teenager. I was like, really trying to get my shit started, and that was just something that pumped me up. So I'm like, I got to see this movie, and nobody would go, and the only way my buddy would go is if we came up with this like fake thing that we both had dates.
Well, when I was in high school, people would tell me all the time that I look like Freddie Prinze Jr. And I'm like, that is the greatest compliment I've ever heard. Like, what a handsome man he is. When we did this interview, I told him that, and he goes, bro, when the Zoom turned on, I was going to say that exact same thing. Like, this is what you have to look like in the future. Like, this is what you have to look forward to.
And he looks great. So congratulations to you for such a bright future. Did you utilize that in like when you were in high school? Did you ever play tricks on people or pretend you're like a cousin or something?
Let's be honest, I don't look enough like him that I think I could get away with that. And I also I lacked no confidence when it came to like presenting. I hosted the talent show and the fashion show, and I was the student council vice president in high school. But when it came to like the ladies in high school, I had zero game. So really? I probably should have used this to my advantage.
That's so fascinating. I think for most people, they would think the opposite, just based on how you look.
That's very kind. But no, I was maybe too shy or too nervous, which is really weird because I wasn't shy in any other aspect.
Right.
But when it came to up until I went to university, I was like fumbling over words and not sure what to say. Like, should I call them? Should I not call them? This is the time before texting and cell phones. So like you have to call their house and be like, hello, Mrs. Jones. Could I speak to Amy, please?
Yeah, it was a brutal time, man. It was, I remember.
No one named Amy Jones. I just made up that name. Should have used a real name.
I will. I was a girl named Danielle. I don't even remember her last name, but I remember a girl named Danielle, and it was she had to be the first girl that I called the house, like the actual house phone. For anybody who doesn't know, houses used to have phones that had cords and they were on a wall or like on a table. It was a long time ago. And I forget, I'm like 11 or 12, and I remember calling, and her dad answered, and I got her I was so nervous to even talk to him. And then I got her on the phone, and I asked her, and she said no. Like, just
no. No.
Yeah.
Wow.
Just a flat out no.
But when you're 12, like, that's devastating. That is like a dagger in the heart.
And then, of course, the next day, you got to have class. Like, it's not like someone that you're asking out that you don't even work, like that doesn't work with you, or you don't have to see them. You have to literally, she's like 2 desks over. So you got to sit there and just look at her and be like, God damn, I can't believe I did that.
We all had that girl. Whether you were 11 or 12 or whether you were in high school, we all had that girl that was like the epitome of like, oh my gosh, like I would do anything to get one date with this girl. And what's funny now is here we are, 20 years later, and Facebook allows us to see, that some of those girls maybe, had their best years, many years ago.
Yeah, absolutely, man.